Hello, biology students. This is Mr. Steinhorst. Today, what I'm going to show you guys how to do is take your data from the heart rate lab and turn it into a chart, which we're going to go ahead and put into our lab report. So what I've done is I've opened up a Google Sheet and I've titled it Heart Rate Lab Data. And this first chart, these are actually two charts, one here and then this one here. This is my raw data. And what I looked at when I did this lab is I wanted to see how running affects heart rate. So I did that over the course of 3 trials. And I have my sitting heart rate and running heart rate. And each time I measured sitting and running heart rate, I recorded those numbers into this data table. And I did that 3 times for 3 trials. Then I took the averages of each trial or each heart rate. So sitting heart rate, I had 53 beats per minute, 60 beats per minute, and 55 beats per minute. To find the average, I added those 3 numbers up, divided by 3, and I came up with an average sitting heart rate of 56 beats per minute. Then I did the same thing with running heart rate. So trial 1, 82 beats per minute, trial 2, 78 beats per minute, and trial 3, 85 beats per minute. Averaged them, so I added them up, divided by 3, and I came up with 86.1 beats per minute for the average. Now, what I want to do with this data is I want to make a chart with it. I want to turn it into, from raw data up here, into processed data. So to do that, I labeled column A average sitting heart rate and average running heart rate. Then in column B, I put my averages, 56 beats per minute and 86.1 beats per minute. To graph this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight the averages. Okay, so all 4 of these boxes here, I'm going to highlight those. And then I'm going to go up here to insert, and I want to insert a chart. It defaults to a pie chart, but since I'm finding averages for this experiment, I want to use a bar graph. So I will click on the bar graph. Okay. And this is what it should look like. Now, before I can put this into my lab report, I do need to do some editing to it. So I'm going to go over here to Customize. And I want to go down to Vertical Axis to start out. And I want to set my minimum value to 0. That's because when we make our graphs, we always want to start with 0. This graph needs a title. So I'm going to click on Chart and Access Titles. And this should say Chart Title right here. This is a drop down. And we're going to call this Effect of Running on Heart Rate in beats per minute. Then I'm going to go back up to this drop down, and I am going to label my horizontal axis. That is our independent variable. And for our independent variable, we are going to call that type of exercise. Then I am going to click on this drop down again, and now I want to label my vertical axis. That's the dependent variable. We are going to call that heart rate. And put our units in, beats per minute. Once I have that done, I can go ahead and close out the editor because we are done editing this. And we are ready to put it into our lab report. So I have my copy of the lab report open here, Heart Rate Lab. And I want to go down to where it says Data. And anytime I'm dealing with a chart or graph that is going to be quantitative data, dealing with, because it deals with numbers, and I want to paste that in under processed graphs. So let me go back to my chart here, click anywhere on it, and these three little dots will show up in the upper right hand corner. Click on those, go down to copy chart, and paste. So this is an example of what your graphs will look like for this lab. You see here I have average sitting heart rate and average running heart rate. Yours will have different independent variables because some of you are doing different types of music, different types of video clips, even different types of exercise to see how those affect heart rate. So that's pretty much it for this. If you need any help or have any questions about this video, just feel free to ask me. Thank you, guys.